Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the conversation, and today we got another hot episode for you guys that we're going to get into. But before we get into that, I want you guys to go ahead and hit the like button. We're trying to get the 500 likes for every single video that we upload on this channel. And also, if you guys are interested in some of our hot, short clips and content that you guys have never really seen from us at Dreamerspro, make sure you guys subscribe to the Dreamerspro Short Clips channel. We're going to have the channel in the description below, and also it's on the feature page of our channel. So if you go to our homepage, you'll see the Dreamerspro Short Clips there. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, don't forget to check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. We're on Spotify and iTunes. We're also going to have that in the description below. So make sure you guys check that out. With that being said, let's get into the content. Now, the question today is, should the Clippers' Paul George be worried about getting traded? That's what we're going to get into in this video today. Now, let me just first of all say that we at Dreamerspro here, we listen to our audience, and we make a lot of Clippers videos because you guys like them, and we like to make them for you. I'm a Clippers fan. I like what they're doing. I think it's a fresh new thing going on in the NBA, and it could possibly be the new dynasty moving forward in the NBA. So I like making videos about the Clippers. But in us making all those videos, we also get a lot of comments from Clippers fans out there about whom? Yes, Paul George. And a lot of you seem to have a bunch of different schools of thought on Paul George, and one of them I'm going to address in this video today. But before we get into that, let's actually look at what Paul George has accomplished in his career thus far at the age of 28 years old. So Paul George is a six-time NBA All-Star. He's been on one All-First NBA team, been on four All-Third NBA teams. He's been on two All-Defensive First Defensive NBA teams, two All-Second Defensive NBA teams. So he's been on four All-Defense and four All-NBA teams. He's actually led the league in steals in 2019, and currently this season he's averaging 21 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 3.9 assists, shooting 43% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line, and getting you about 1.3 steals a game. Now, if I just gave you guys these numbers, you may say to yourself, these are pretty good numbers, but there's only one problem though. We all know that Paul George has shown that he can play at a much higher level. But before we go into that, let's take a step back and understand why Paul George and how he even ended up on the Clippers in the first place. Now, if you guys are aware of the story that happened over the last off season, the Clippers were able to acquire Kawhi Leonard. We all know that. But Kawhi Leonard was able to get Paul George, who was under contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and bring him to the Clippers, and told Steve Ballmer and Jerry West and Doc Rivers that if you guys want me to come, go get me Paul George. Now, why would Kawhi Leonard say that? Why would he want Paul George, although he tried to recruit other NBA stars? The reason is simple. Last season, Paul George was one of the finalists. I think it was in top 3 in votes for league MVP, and also he was one of the finalists for Defensive Player of the Year. He's also known to be one of the best two-way players in all of basketball. And last season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, during the regular season, he was averaging 37 minutes a game, 28 points a game, shooting 44% from the field. He shot 39% from the three-point line. He shot 84% from the free throw line. He got you 8.2 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 2.2 steals per game. So Paul George was having a career year, and at one point he was just on a scoring tear, and he was playing alongside Russell Westbrook, and everyone watching those games was saying that it's clear to see that Paul George is actually the better Oklahoma City Thunder. But what ended up happening was he ended up injuring his shoulder, and he had to get shoulder surgery over the offseason, which is the reason why he ended up missing training camp with the Clippers in Honolulu, Hawaii this offseason. So he wasn't able to participate in games, although he was there to be with his team, but he just couldn't play because he wasn't healthy. When he now started the season and started to play with Kawhi Leonard, a lot of Clippers fans were really clamoring to see this new combination. And people like Max Kellerman were out there saying this could be the next Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen type of pairing, because Michael Jordan was a really great, two guard, and Scottie Pippen was a fantastic small forward, and they could probably have the same synergy. They moved Kawhi Leonard over to the 2 spot, making him primarily a scorer, and they kept Paul George at the power forward spot. But as the season progressed, what happened? Paul George started to get injured, and at one point I think he was suffering from a hamstring issue that kept on plaguing him all throughout the season, so it made it very hard for him to develop a rhythm. Now, while all of that was happening, the Clippers somehow were still able to win games. They were still the number 2 seed in the NBA, in the Western Conference, with a 44-20 record, right behind the Lakers at the number 1 spot with a 49-14 record. So it wasn't like as if the Clippers were not successful. It just was that, a lot of people expected more out of them, especially out of Paul George. And when Clippers fans would go out there and look at these games and see that Kawhi Leonard was putting up better numbers consistently, automatically people started to point the finger at Paul George and say, hey, wait a minute, why is Paul George not producing at the level that he was in Oklahoma City last season? And that's the reason why a lot of Clippers fans in the comment section, a lot of them have lamented the fact that they have acquired Paul George. A lot of them say they wish that they didn't get him. A lot of Clippers fans say that, they don't believe that Paul George is going to work out for them in the playoffs. And I've been one of the people that say, hold on, just give him a minute. He's been injured. He's been going through some health issues, and I'm sure he's going to be able to bounce back as the season progresses. And just before, we went into this global lockdown, Paul George had finally come back, and we started to see the Clippers healthy again, and they were now beginning to perform much better on the court together, and Paul George was beginning to find his rhythm. And on the game that the Clippers played, the third meeting between the Clippers and the Lakers, Paul George actually ended up leading the Clippers in scoring with 31 points that game to go with Kawhi Leonard's 27 points. So he was beginning to show flashes of what these Clippers fans expected from him. But the question is, though, should he be worried about being traded in the future? And that's what I want to answer right now. The question is, if and when the NBA season does come back after this lockdown that we're seeing, there's going to be a playoffs. And a lot of Clippers fans are going to be saying, hey, listen, Paul George is getting paid $30 million a year or $25+ million a year because he's a max player. We need to see you produce. And I think that's what a lot of Clippers fans are going to be looking for Paul George to do. They don't want him to go out there and average 30 because it's going to be impossible, because I believe that Kawhi Leonard is going to be the number 1 scoring option in the playoffs, but they want to see someone that can get them between 23 to 25 points a game, play lockdown defense, come up big in big moments, and not rely on Kawhi Leonard to steer that ship all the way to the finish line. I think a lot of you guys are looking to see Paul George live up to the hype, because a lot of Kawhi Leonard's success is going to bank on how Paul George performs in the playoffs. If he performs really well, then he's going to be a really good sidekick to Kawhi Leonard's Batman. But if he doesn't, then Kawhi Leonard is going to have some issues performing in the playoffs. Why? Because last season, Kawhi Leonard's running mate was Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. But now you're talking about a legitimate perennial all-star that was also a finalist for league MVP. And he needs to play like that. So I'm going to be the first one to say that when the playoffs come back and Paul George doesn't perform up to par, I think we need to give him one more year. It's not like as if, okay, if he doesn't perform well this season, let's get rid of him. But if he doesn't do so for 2 consecutive seasons, then I think the Clippers need to look in a different direction for, possibly getting someone else to pair with Kawhi Leonard, because it makes no sense for Paul George to be able to be earning that amount of money and not deliver in the playoffs. Yes, he can put up good numbers, but what people are looking for is for him to deliver in high leverage moments, and then that's what people are going to be looking for. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me that Paul George could be traded if he underperforms, or do you think the Clippers are going to stick it out and keep him for whatever period of time. Whatever you guys think, please let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to subscribe to our Dreamerspro Short Clips channel and follow us on our Dreamerspro Podcast, which we're going to have in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, I got some really hot content that you guys should check out. One of them is called Can Kevin Durant Catch LeBron James in Championships, and the Clippers' secret weapon to handling Anthony Davis in the playoffs. So go ahead and check those videos out. We're going to have them linked in the description below. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.